Hello, welcome everyone to another one of our series of live webinars from Society for the Protection of Nature in Israel, HaChavra L'Haganat Hateva. I'm Jay Shofet, hosting these webinars usually, except when they're live from the field. And then Alen from our Jerusalem Bird Observatory is doing that usually. Um, Happy to be here. I'm coming to you from Denver, Colorado. I'm on a trip to the US, meeting our supporters, friends, meeting new people, foundations, doing some public events, heading to New York this afternoon for a final 4 days before I head back to Israel. Great to be in Denver. It's been a great trip so far, meeting supporters all over the Bay Area and down in Palo Alto and in East Bay and in San Francisco, and then in Durham, North Carolina, where our board chair, Jonathan Silverstein, lives now. Had a great talk at a JCC and some interesting parlor meetings. Now in Denver and Boulder for a few days and moving to New York. Um, things are things are interesting in the States, and so we're just breathing a sigh of relief for the first time in 2 years. It's weird to be abroad and not in Israel at the Hostage Square in its joyous moment, but we're so grateful for the the ending of the war, at least the ceasefire now, and the hostages coming home, and pray that the bodies are coming home soon. And that's really kind of, I think, reset us all. Oh yeah, thanks. Hi, Larry. Please write in the chats where you're from. It's great to hear from you. I'm really excited about our webinar today. Um, Rotem is an old colleague from SPNI. She's moved on to bigger and better things. Hi, Rotem. We're still saying hi. I'm just letting people know that we're going to have a very interesting webinar all about Israel's climate tech ecosystem and how that works and what PLANETech is doing to advance that ecosystem. It's so important. It is so important. There's seems like maybe we're at a turning point for focus on climate change. I don't know why. Maybe I live in a bubble, but it seems like maybe it goes up and down in waves, and climate change is just presenting itself to us. So it's getting harder and harder to deny and tougher and tougher to to deal. So there's lots we can do though, and Israel is such an innovator in so many things, and I'm excited to learn about what Israel's up to in terms of climate change technology, and uh, and how we can work with that. We in Israel as environmentalists in general and SPNI, we do a lot of innovation, I think, in environment. We're not a startup, but our wetlands rewilding program is highly innovative in the Israeli context, and we think globally. Wow, hello everybody from everywhere. It's so great to see so many people. Rotem, I don't know if you're seeing your audience here, but they're coming from New Mexico, from the most beautiful spot on earth, Hudson Valley in New York. Apologies to everybody else. Um, but yeah, Kensington, California, that's in the Bay Area, Berkshires, my neck of the woods, and Jerusalem and Beersheba and places like that you've probably been to, and you know, all over, all over. We often have people from here, France, the UK, Connecticut and Toronto, and a lot of places where we have supporters in groups and a lot of individuals out there. And it's a great chance for everybody to come together in this nature conservation community. And most of our webinars are our own staff members. And when you left SPNI, we hadn't started this yet. We started in COVID. Um, but you would have been on if we'd had webinars then. So it's great to have you on now. I think we can get going here. We're um, at 70 people already. We had a lot more than that registered, but we will see what's happening as people join. I'm Jay Shofet, for those of you just joining. Coming to you from Denver, direct development for SPNI globally and in Israel, and I'm on a trip to the States back in a week or so, and I'm thrilled to have with us Rotem. How do you pronounce your last name?
Oh God, yeah. He's totally worth it, my husband. It's Trivitsky.
Trivitsky. Trivitsky. That's not bad. Trivitsky.
It took me it took me longer than it took you.
Trivitsky. No, we get that. Well, Rotem Trivizki, um, who was a colleague of ours at SPNI for 4 years. She ran an international network of marine conservation in the Mediterranean Sea called Mare Nostrum, RC in Latin or Greek, Latin, I think.
Latin.
Latin. Yeah, that in and of itself, Rotem, must have been an interesting challenge. I mean, we worked together a little bit. We were getting funding from the EU, funding which we hope continues. That Mare Nostrum project had a couple of Gilgulim. It morphed into a couple different things over the years. I don't know if you've been involved or not, but
No, not at
oh,
all.
okay.
Of mostly of a planning, of urban planning, or marine planning, or
Planning, cleanup, coordination. It's called Ecoscope now.
interesting. No, I
Yeah,
don't know.
yeah, yeah.
I'm happy it's
Um,
going.
and I think there was something even between Mary Nostrum and Echoscope, a version of it. Anyway, have moved on to climate tech ecosystem. Fascinating. PlanetTech. Rotem Trivitsky is the CEO of PlanetTech, the founder and CEO of PlanetTech. Um,
Founder, CEO,
CEO,
master.
CEO.
Yeah.
And you work in cooperation with the Israel Innovation Authority, Reshut HaChadshanut.
We work with collaboration with the entire ecosystem. So them, of course, but not specifically. We are a joint venture of Consensus Business Group, which is our donors, a British group, and then Israel Innovation Institute, which is an
Oh,
NGO like us.
okay. I think I was confused by that.
Yeah,
Um,
everyone are confused by it.
and your supporters, a British group with
Yes.
business interests in Israel? I mean,
No, I mean they have a lot of. They're not based in Israel. They're based in London. But yeah, but they invest a lot in tech in Israel. And when they wanted to create their first climate tech portfolio in Israel a few years ago, they realized there is no ecosystem. So then they got engaged in building the ecosystem, and now the ecosystem is thriving, and they have their portfolio to invest. So mainly
wow.
investors, but yeah, but this is a great initiative that they did here.
That's very interesting. I'm very interested. I'm sure our supporters and people on the webinar are very interested. And I know that just from people I've been meeting on this trip and in previous trips in recent years, we have some startup people, some men and women involved, and it's in environmental things and related fields of biotech or agri-tech and stuff like that. So I hope it's interesting to everybody. I know I'm looking forward to it. Rotem's going to give a presentation of about 20, 25 minutes, and then we can pepper her with questions. I know I have many, and you can write yours in the chat or in the Q&A feature. So please let us know. Write in Q&A if you can, and I'll take questions and transmit them to you, Rotem. So thank you very,
Perfect.
very much for being here and looking forward.
Thank you for having me. Thank you. This is so exciting. I feel like I'm going back home in a way. So as Jay said, I've worked for SPNI for a while, and it was a home for me, and that's where I grew. And then my journey kind of shifted towards doing the same impact, but I wanted to be on the developer side. I thought maybe that's where I can be more impactful. And my origin is I'm a marine biologist. So until very recently, I did mostly marine projects and blue economy and blue ventures. After SPNI, I moved to work on the Tel Aviv coastline, working in the municipality. So that was as developing as it gets, but also super progressive people that really wanted to understand how they can do what they're doing on the best way. And that was an insane job, kind of figuring out what is an amazing marine development. And then soon enough, we started engaging with marine technologies because we understood that was the future of the urban coastline. And we've created a hub and a beta site in the Jaffa port and then along the coastline. And I'm talking more about my former job than my recent one,
That's okay.
but that's
That's okay. Wait, a quick question. Are you using that Echo Concrete? I think Biz might have been involved with. Yes.
yes, that was Echo Concrete and EchoWave were the first two startups on our beta site.
Echo
That
Concrete. And what's the other one?
EchoWave, they
Echo.
initiate electricity power out of wave energy.
Well, I've been waiting for that forever. Is that now
And
here?
so
I
it's
don't.
actually happening in the Jaffa port, and it has been for a while. I remember at Concrete, I got their pictures of the installation the day after my son was born, and he's almost 7, so it's been
Wow.
a while.
Wow. So wait, so it's not commercial yet? Can't be upscaled? What's the,
No, so first of all, this was a while ago and they were in a very different stage. Econcrete for sure are commercial. They have
yeah.
projects all around the world and are doing an amazing job. Really, really being and I mean we'll talk about this more. But like really being in the middle of what is development and still conservation. So they're able to make development projects to an actual habitat. So they're like a dream comes true to any urban developer. And Echo
Incredible.
Wave, they have also projects around the world and more pilots. I'm not sure if they're IPO'd, but I think IPO'd is R&D, but I'm not an expert. So
Okay.
you should
Okay.
look for them, but both are great companies, and I'll show you a platform of how you can look for all. I
Okay.
went to study abroad. I came back to Israel. It was already during the war when I came back, and I realized I wanted to do something broader. Super holistic with like more of Israel and more of climate and not just marine ecology. And that's how I ended up here managing PLANETech. So let me share a presentation super quickly, and I'll just tell you a little bit about PLANETech. And really, this is just a trigger for what I hope will be an interesting conversation. So feel free to kind of write everything that you have in mind, and we'll talk all about it later. Hard questions for sure.
תודה רבה.
Okay, sure. Okay, so let's start. First, a little bit about Planetech. So I started by telling how it was initiated, and really cool idea. Where the idea is to do both climate technology and kind of bring that idea of tikkun olam to the world, spread the rumor that comes from Israel to the world. So and I mean by that we have two prospects. We want to help the world and really create more and better technologies that can really improve our resistance to climate technologies, but also have that as first of all as an amazing economic engine to Israel, but also as a good bridge for relationships in the region and globally in general. And I think we can see that energy and water infrastructure are a great bridge already happening in our region and in general between Israel and the world, starting from Tefot and really so many amazing energy companies around the world. Okay, so just when we say climate technologies, I just want to kind of give you an idea of what it is, and we will drill down because this is a huge, amazing world. In general, climate is changing and that is causing a lot of hazards and a lot of problems and everyone are exposed to it all the peoples all the people all the places cities countries industries all the industries you can think of are exposed to climate change. So there is like that on one side of like how do you cope with that, and the other side growing demand. So I am the population is getting larger and the level of life is becoming higher and people need more resources and more energy and more everything, and like the demand is getting higher and we want to see our world developing, but we really want to see us coping with climate change and even stopping these effects. And we think that there are many things to gap that, and I think SPNI are doing many of them, including policy and conservation. But one of the ways to gap this, especially in the industry, is climate technologies. And this is like the idea of climate technology is whatever type of technology that gaps between the growing need or your specific need in your industry and how climate is affecting it. That's in general what climate technology is. And that comes in many shapes. We work by a challenge centric approach. So you have a challenge, like whatever keeps you up at night. I'm not sure where you guys from and then what are you doing, but you have a challenge and then you kind of like drill down through that challenge and look for a solution, and that is how you'll see our platform works. So we have five main pillars: the built environment, which is also energy and water infrastructure and mobility and anything you can find in obviously the built environment. And then the other side of the planet, which is land use, and that goes to agri and pollination and alternative protein, which is a huge part of climate, metal and minerals, mining, and food loss. And the other side of things is we talk about like the resource and inventing new materials from more sustainable point of view of what is your resource, but also what is how can it recycle. So that is all about material and manufacture, novel materials, clean manufacturing, circularity of things, but also transportation and supply chain and carbon capture. So I mean, like a big part of what we're doing is also fixing what was done already. So it won't be enough to just stop, but you kind of need to fix it. So carbon capture, a complex question that I'm assuming I will get a question about, but still a big part of climate technology still. Nature, both fixing nature and fixing by nature. So of course, nature-based solutions, but also whatever the nature needs from us, cleaning, ocean health, foresting, how do you keep biodiversity, and more. And last but definitely not least, especially in the last year, digital data centers are starting to be huge consumers, and we're doing everything that we can to just make that process that is, I think, inevitable, a very would say efficient and energetically efficient one. I'll go down into that. So that was like just a general introduction to what are climate technologies. And now I want to share a little bit about what we do at PLANETech. So first of all, this is our global community. I didn't fix it, but we've reached 10,000 community members. This is of course via all of our channels and especially social media. We have about 1,000 startups, 120 partners from array of NGOs, academy, government, and we work a lot with VCs. We've issued 9 climate tech reports. I'll talk about that more, and there are 2 that are about to be issued until the end of the year. And we've successfully trained over, I hope, successfully trained over 130 startups. Okay, so a big part of what we do is I apologize. I just see that I'm using a slide that I used in Japan. So there's a little bit of Japanese there. I hope it's actually right. But what we do is we centralize the ecosystem. So these are all the entities that we work with. And the idea is that it takes a village. It takes a village to create the most suitable technology, I think, and that's the right word. Israel is super amazing and well known for the great technology, but a great technology is just not enough. It needs to become an amazing product. That is a huge part where PLANETech puts its emphasis on, and really connecting startups, which of course are the heart of our community, to the market and to VCs and government and whoever will consume these technologies as early as possible to make sure that this technology is actually a good market fit and will be deployed. Because at the end of the day, if you want to change climate, you have to deploy your technologies. So here are a few examples of how we work with each of this group. One of our flagship programs is our Investor Alliance. We work with most of the climate tech investors in Israel. I always like to discover new ones, and we actually have an alliance. We meet with them quarterly. It's now wider than Israel, so we work with investors abroad. Sometimes they come to our meetings. Sometimes we have a global meeting once a year, and of course, like we issue reports of like new companies, and there is a lot of value try to bring, and we really try to bring new trends and new ideas and new models that can be beneficial for the ecosystem here. Because at the end of the day, the VCs are taking as much, not as much, but almost as much risk as the entrepreneurs. And we really want to help kind of build a good knowledge that can take the ecosystem further. This ecosystem, specifically what we do at PLANETech, is totally technology based. So like we only do startups. That is like what we base our technology, not really academy. Of course, we work with TTOs to kind of take startups out of the academy, but like we come in when there is a technology in a startup involved. Corporate. So again, I'm not sure who is in the audience, but like if you have a business or you work for an industry, it is currently suffering from climate tech challenges, which can probably be fixed not pretty easily, but with an effort by technologies. So this is like the way we engage with climate tech businesses is we do open innovation processes. If you're not familiar with that, it's kind of like competitions or challenges we go to the corporate and we ask them what are their problems essentially, and then we kind of translate it to what climate challenges are, and then we try to find solutions. We have a platform that is like the leanest way that you can practically do it by yourself, but we engage in a very deep process. And I just wanted to share here that you realize how random it is, the industries that are now engaging in climate technologies. AB and Biv is one project that we had. This is like a huge beverage, global beverage company, a multinational company. And on the other side, the Soroka Hospital, this was a while ago before it was a hit in the war. But like again, two entities that you wouldn't think of intuitively if you were to speak about climate, and both had their KPIs, their goals, and we were able to find technologies that can help them match for that. Startups. So I mean, like we work with startups all over the place, and like I would go on a just like one biz dev call with one startup. So although usually they know their stuff much better than I would, but like just to consult with. But sometimes we try to find trends, and a trend that we found, and I will elaborate more when I talk to you about the report. But we actually discovered that many new companies, very surprisingly, has like rised in Israel since the beginning of the war. And we can talk about like the incentives of why that happened. But the fact was that these were companies that didn't really get to meet global investors, which is like the bread and butter. There are local investors in Israel, and they're amazing, and they have like amazing rounds, but usually they need like the global ecosystem to support them, and they haven't met them because these are people that used to come quarterly to Israel and then like one day stop coming. So what we did is we can't like have a map of our entire ecosystem. It's like it's too big. But we did have a map of 100 the newest 100 startups to climate. As you see, it's sector. I mean, it's not sector agnostic. It's climate, but like inside climate, it's sector agnostic. There were startups there doing built environment, some energy, some water, and other examples, I see mobility, and at the same time, materials and manufacturers, and really in all the pillars. Nature, we had some really cool nature, that's some really cool nature startups, and land use, of course, and data centers, which is booming at the moment. So we initiated this, and it was like a whole database, not just a map, and we just launched it to VCs all over the world, kind of saying like, this is your newest opportunity in Israel. And next, still talking about our initiatives. So, like as I said, like sometimes we just work with one of the layers of the stakeholders and the entities that we work with, but sometimes we try to create a perspective that is like a drill down more and is actually involving everyone. And a good example is when we have like use case spotting or spotlights, or what we also call micro ecosystems. So every year we choose one or two subjects that like we really think that if we focus on that and we'll create a lot of facilitation around that, that can be like the next new thing. So this year it was obviously data centers. We took, I mean, AI was everywhere and was booming, and we realized that like the dark side of AI is how much it's consuming, of course. So our goal was to create or I would say enhance as many companies that would do AI more efficiently. And we identified three pillars, all our energy in one point or another, but one, renewable energy. And second is heat waste management. So how you do deal with all the heat, which is the highest consumer in a data center. And the third is just like advanced computing and anything that just makes the process more efficient. And if it's just more efficient, it can be like a better chip. But if it's more efficient, then it's consuming less energy. For the hyperscalers, this was like the basic. It's like, call it climate, call it whatever you want, as long as we're more efficient and energy is just like not that expensive and needed. And we kind of looked into the climate angle to it. And we really brought everyone, government, investors, corporates, NGOs, to speak roundtables, kind of see what we can do to enhance more and more companies in this field. Another, and I think maybe the last good example of our initiatives is the reports that we issue. So we issue a report on the spotlight or miniature ecosystems, but we also issue an annual report together with the Israeli Innovation Authority that Jay mentioned about the Israeli state of climate tech report. So this is just like what is happening in climate tech in Israel. And then the last one was obviously a very complex report, kind of demonstrating what was happening since the beginning of the war. And I can just show a few of the highlights here. So, just as key findings, we found that there were at least almost 1,000 active climate tech companies, and that was the last report showed about 700 or 600 something, if I remember correctly. So many new, no, it was 750. So yeah, so we had like around 100 new startups. I forget the math, and that was a huge surprise for us. We did not imagine. We only imagined that companies were closed, and there was a shift. Company did close, and then like more company rose it, started, but still, it was a huge shock for us. Investments went down. I'll show you the trend in a minute, but like in total, when you count all investments, which we did this year since 2018, so this is like I would say the long run number. Almost $10 billion were invested in Israel in climate tech. So I mean, since like the beginning of it, it had cut a really big share of investments in Israel. I would say that like investment declined, of course, during the war, and I have a slide to show it. We have almost 60% of our company pre-seed and seed, which is like super early stage companies. That means that like there's a problem for companies to kind of enhance to the growth stage, which is where we want them to be. Because again, if we want to do conservation and if we really want to do climate, then we need these companies deployed and not just like good ideas and being developed. And IAA, which is the Israeli Innovation Authority, and they invest a lot of money in tech, invested 250 million only during this time. Okay, so like most of it was since the beginning of the war, and they really wanted to kind of help the company last it, and they had many grants and many programs to do that, and that was super effective from what we've heard. Because again, more companies wrote this, and a lot of them really did survive. So at the end of the day, we saw resilience in the face of the economic and geopolitical challenge. This was happening to climate all over the world, but it was like being very magnitude in Israel, and and also we did see sufficient a global investor interest, but mainly during the war, a big cut was U.S. and Northern America. I would say since the beginning of the war, that was very evident. Okay, so I took off the slide. Okay, so you have to take my word for it that investments were declining. It started, it's 2023, it was about 40%, and then it declined even more in 2024. And soon we will see the picture 2025, but we anticipate that the decline will stay, but that the rate of decline will be much smaller. So good news for us. This is how the technologies are distributed between the different sectors. So agriculture is huge in Israel. It's our problem that we have to solve. So it's like actually an evident problem here in Israel, where farmers really have to deal with changing climates daily. So a lot of very good, very cool new ideas really across the scope. A clean energy system is also super big in Israel, and we're talking about like everything that can facilitate batteries and just like like one component of batteries and batteries for cars and batteries for EV, I mean EVs cars, but like really many examples of like what this is energy in general. Novel food is surprisingly enough, we're the second state in the world after the US in the size of the ecosystem here. But it's super trending here and it's growing, and it was a very big surprise for us. And Last that I want to spotlight is, of course, mobility, which is very big in Israel. And I mean, this is traditional. We've been like we have the big players here for a while now, and kind of spotting innovation. I think I will skip the slide for the sake of time. And just what I wanted to share now is the market square. So I kind of like want to translate everything I said so far to what can become maybe your daily life. So the report is like it's a snapshot, and it shows like very like a specific moment that is super analyzed, but it's a specific moment. But the value we want to give the ecosystem, and this is really, I think, one of our biggest values, to create a digital twin to the ecosystem. Because the end of the day, the local ecosystem has to be super well connected to the global one, and that is a big part of what PLANETech does, and that is why this is such an amazing opportunity for me. And again, thank you, Jay, for this, because you can't be a good ecosystem if you're not well connected to the global one. The markets here are not as big, investments here are not as big, but also like even the technology itself cannot like live in a chamber, and it needs to be as exposed as it can to the global markets, that especially the ones that it's targeting. So what we did is we created the market square, which is the digital twin of our ecosystem, and we say the ecosystem and the Israeli ecosystem in the palm of your hands. You'll have a QR soon, and this is like available for everyone. You can just go in and go over it. The idea is to both educate, you'll see there is a lot of knowledge there, and connect and execute. Because again, we want to see deployment. It doesn't count if it's not being deployed, and that's a huge emphasis of PLANETech, and where we really hope to see the ecosystem. It's not like I don't know, cyber and that like sometimes it's just about like the acquisitions that are a huge part of like what these ecosystems are contributing to Israel. Although of course we need the security itself, but here like it's really about the deployment, and it's a huge emphasis that we want to see. So the idea is that we have where we demonstrate the startups, all the startups in our ecosystem. The platform right now has 450 startups, which are like people we know by name. We're communicating with them daily, and of course, climate tech investors, as we said, but also corporates that are willing to engage with the ecosystem and are always on a search for what can be a solution for their own needs on manufacture floor. I mean, like specifically, what can really improve your product. The idea is to really create a platform that connects, that provides visibility to Israeli startups. The startups and the ecosystem are only on the platform are only Israeli. It's a good way for people to consume startups, that the startups are verified. We don't do due diligence, but we do verify the startups and how climatey is what they do. Of course, we want to empower and expand and strengthen the ecosystem and see it really growing and becoming a part of the Israeli economy. You saw the challenge map, so we have 5 pillars and 22 categories, and that drills down even more to challenges. We currently have, I think, 445 startups, but we have some more in the pipeline, and then we're hoping to reach 500 soon, and 50 investors already. This is I mean, not super well exposed, but this is pretty well exposed for a climate tech platform. And we have about 14,000 page viewers from 62 countries, and 1,700 active users. So people that like go in, and we see them like repeating and like acting and searching for technologies. And we're always, there is like an introduce me button. We're always happy to facilitate the connection, but of course you can just like reach out to the people by yourselves. Um, Challenges. So as I said, we have that open innovation. So we also have open innovation opportunities, or call for startups on our website, and that is always open. We usually try to facilitate them and be a part of this process. But if you just want to keep it super lean and just like publish, like this is what I'm looking for and this is the solution that I need, we're happy to do that as well. As I said, you can join the market square, or just like go on our website and you'll see markets were up there. But this is really the ecosystem in the palm of your hands. And if you're ever in a room and there is a climate technology needed, just feel free to reach out and kind of grab whatever you need. I think the navigation is pretty easy. This is how it looks. This is the movie is totally not updated. So I mean, you'll see the numbers are totally wrong, but this is how the platform works. And again, the idea is that each and every one of you can totally reach out to the ecosystem, to the technology that they need. That's the idea, and I think the easiest way for people that are not super involved in the ecosystem to kind of find the solution that they're looking for their industries, for the cities, for their communities, sometimes even for their homes. Oh, and how you can engage. So if you're an investor, join the Investor Alliance, and we'll introduce you to the company. If you're in industry, open innovation, and climate technologies, anything you can do by expanding. This is just like, spreading the rumor of good, amazing Israeli technology that is really doing well across the world and strengthening, uh, mainly if you're an investor, specifically for this invitation. I'm sorry for the rest, but we do have an investor gathering in Israel in December coming up. So we're happy to invite people. And that's it. Thank you. Let me just stop. Oh, I totally forgot. This takes a village, and I cannot do this by myself. So I'm the director. We have Diawosa, which is like our CTO or our Donatello, as I like to explain, and then the smart guy in the room, head of science and technology. Shell is data and operation. Marina is global partnerships, and Dan Bakola knows every single startup in Israel by their name and is our ecosystem manager. Thank you so much. You can scan this for more about us, and I'm open to questions.
Rotem, wow. Mamash Manyen mode. First of all, I just
That,
noted you hired a woman named Maureen. That's
that is.
very well done.
She also loves the sea as much as I do. So yeah, we're totally connected.
That's great. I'm actually going to be speaking in Naples, Florida in February, and also be part of a panel with some local environmentalists. One guy is a rabbi who preaches water Torah, um,
What is water
Jewish
car?
ethics around water and ocean protection and freshwater rehabilitation. And yeah,
That
uh,
sounds fascinating. I would love to
yeah,
hear that.
yeah. I thought of it when I remember what you used to do. Um, Yes, and you know the book Blue Mind, by the way, by a marine biologist in California? Blue
No,
Mind.
I don't.
Check it out about how everything is better when you, how humans like just in, on, under, near, facing water is how our mind works. Yeah. Um, wow. Okay. So there are a couple questions already in the chat and in but let me just start with a couple of more general ones. Um, so you're having an investor conference, you just said. Do you also have conference for startups or, even, uh,
Okay.
and
So
when you, when pre, and another general question, I mean, for me and the audience, when you say pre-seed funding, does that mean startups that can be still in stealth mode? How do people find out about, what you can do for them? You're talking about investing and that stuff. How does a startup individual find out
okay.
about?
So I'll start with the latter question. Of course, pre-seed and seed can be for stealth mode, and mostly they are,
Most of them.
especially if like the technology is like super unique. And there are a lot of people to engage with the ecosystem. I would modestly say that I think the best way is to just approach us, and I mean, if you have like an investment preference, we can definitely point you out to either our startups or our investors. And especially if it's in self mode, and then they won't be on our platform, then yeah, that is like I would always like want you to picture us as your window or your path to the climate tech community here in Israel. And we're always happy to connect locals to what are amazing opportunities for them, like not just investments even. So happy to do that, those introduction always. And really, I mean, if I haven't shared in the presentation my own email, then I'm happy to share it in the chat and once you guys speak, and then I can write. For the
Cool.
second question, okay, so traditionally, PLANETech has this huge conference with a lot of global participants called PLANETech World, and it was supposed to be in December, kind of betting on peace maybe earlier on, and and it's been tough in Israel, and I mean, I really hope that now we're super optimistic and things will start changing. But at a certain point, we realized we would have to postpone it for 2026 because we really wanted for our global community to feel safe when they
Hmm.
come here. So we end up postponing that to 2026. What we are having in December is a smaller, super, I would say, curated mission. So we do have some climate tech investors coming here for like this week mission, and we have global events, so local events. So this delegation, this mission we will go to startups and like we'll see startups, but also to events that we're actually organizing in Israel for the local ecosystem. We do meetups
Oh,
every
okay,
once in a
cool.
while for the ecosystem. It's super important. And then it's like it's for VCs and it's for the entrepreneurs and it's mainly for people to interact. And the government is an important player there and other ecosystem players. So yeah, so our events are like for everyone.
Oh, that's cool. Great. Okay. There was a question about um, the extreme water use of the data centers, and are you working with technologies in that field?
For sure. Yes, yes, it's a huge part of that. So I would say that like we mainly do like we mainly try to reduce the energy consumption and then there is like less water use, but at the same time some of the technologies are actually trying to replace water with different type of liquids. There is a very cool company in Israel called Zutacol, which are also located in Otif Aza. So they have a double or even triple interesting story. And Zutacol are trying to the liquid that they're using, which obviously is a water based, but I think, but it has a dual beneficial, so it's replacing most water, but it's also it's a how do you say like not burning when something heats to 100 degrees. It's
Vaporizes?
so like the heating point is lower, so like
Oh,
so I mean like it's just more efficient.
right.
Sorry
Vaping.
that I can
I think we
explain
call
it
that
in
vaping in
vaping. Okay.
um, okay. Scott Lewis asks if are you working with anyone in South Florida, particularly in technologies relating to climate change, oceans, sea rise? And the
So and what? Sorry.
go with that. Well, and the follow-up is, could you describe any ocean-related biological restoration work, like matrix for
Cool.
oysters, mollusks, that kind of stuff? I
So I
just love
did
that stuff.
prepare, like I thought I can show you some examples, and I actually prepared an example for this. We specifically, as PLANETech, do not have a connection to what is happening in Florida. Not that I can think of, maybe former to when I came. And I do know that some of our companies are working there, and I mean, like as maybe you guys understood, specifically the coastal part of climate is totally my personal passion, and whatever we can do to enter there with our technologies, we would be happy to. I'll just quickly show you one of the technologies that I think is exactly what you guys are talking about. And wait, sharing. Sorry. Where is it? Okay, here, a super cool company called Econcrete. You can see my screen, right?
Oh yeah,
And
that's what
I
you
think
mentioned.
if I understood the question, that's exactly what they do. So, I mean, you built the water and you built the infrastructure, whatever it is you need to build, a wave breaker or a marina or whatever. But the concrete that you use is has a unique texture and a unique composition that actually enables so it's like bioenrichment. It enables the local ecosystem, the underwater ecosystem, to grow on it. So you're building whatever it is that you're building an infrastructure, but you're also building a reef essentially. So that's a super cool company as well. Yes,
That's
indeed.
great. That's I love that company. That's
Me
amazing.
too.
It's like the high-tech version of what Amir Balaban does at the JBO when they by putting just leaving space between the Jerusalem stone so dirt and animals can inhabit the walls.
That
But
is, I like the high tech version of Amir Balaban. I like it. I
yeah,
think you would like it as well.
yeah. Okay, what else do we have? The question about the event. So you said that the 2025, what was the event that's postponed till 2026?
The Planetech World, our like
PlanetTech World. That's
biggest,
the
yeah,
big, that's investors and startups and
that's
every
everyone. That is like
government.
a climate tech celebration for
And
everyone,
around
really.
when in
Academy.
2026, do you know?
So we're hoping early summer, but we will have a more certain date soon.
Okay,
Hopefully, we'll publish it by December.
cool. What's the name of the company with the with different liquids that you mentioned? Someone-
Zutacol. Let
F
me Zutacol.
Zuta.
Zutacol.
Okay.
Let me pick it up right now.
And
So you can see.
you're asked, how is PlanetTech funded? You mentioned funders from Britain. Are those your
Yes,
funders?
true. Let me just share my screen so you guys can see Zutacol. This is a very cool company. You guys can see it. Oh, sorry. But, oh, annoying. Just so yeah, so super great, and they're working with like as you see like big companies, and hopefully they'll change the world. Well, from the what to the world.
From Stero to the world. That's
Yes.
quite the ambition. Wow. Zutacore.
Yeah. So I mean, if you read about it, it probably explains more than I do
I don't
technically.
know, but this is one of those ideas like, wow, it makes sense. I mean, you
They
know.
actually have like a sister company now doing the same for EV. I am so weak in explaining on like what when it comes to energy, because like I always say, like I played the marine biologist,
Mhm.
but really truly amazing companies that are doing super cool things to a very like to a well needed problem to what is really hyping around the world.
Absolutely, for sure. But meanwhile, some of those companies are supporting us with water offsets for our wetlands rewilding in Israel, companies that have facilities in Israel. So, I mean, I hope they don't solve the problem right away. Can I?
Okay, I take it.
Um, Listen, I love your use of the word novel in like explain a drop more. What do you mean by novel materials and novel food? Does that include like grasshoppers? Because I've been following Cargill, or at least I noticed them from a long time ago. Are they involved? Or they're like huge now?
So, I mean, I like, I want to say, yes, for us, I don't know specifically if they're on the platform, and I can look in a second, but I would say novel means to like kind of from the beginning think it through and really bring like a new resource to the table. Specifically in alternative protein, like it's differs. If you have like the climate ecosystem, anything that can take cows off of the land use or any type of
Right.
animals off of
And
land use is good for us. I mean,
right,
we're good for it. But the other perspective of alternative proteins is, of course, like the animal suffering
right.
and like other lands to watch that, and they do not like proteins that are made out of animals
And
like
even
grasshoppers, but also
grasshoppers.
like cultivated meat is not
Right.
kosher. But yeah, but like for planet, I just wanted to like present that controversiality, but for PlanetTech, I mean, like we have the perspective of like protecting the land, and that is why like everything is good.
So lab grown meat is climate change for you.
It is. I mean, it
Right.
is because like the
Right.
effect of land and grown meat and climate is so much lower than like raising an actual cow that like it counts.
Well, of course,
Yeah,
yeah.
like a true vegan, I
And
can tell you.
novel and what? Excuse me.
From what I've heard, like vegan people speak, like sometimes that wouldn't be as sufficient for them. But
Oh
like for
no,
climate
for vegans,
perspective,
of
it's
course not.
amazing.
Right, but of course not
Yeah,
for vegans. But
yeah.
um, um, novel materials in manufacturing, for example, what does that mean? Other than
So I
economically,
can,
I guess.
I didn't open the page, but let me do it because again, a super cool company. So there is a company in Israel called Helios, and this is like how he claimed like himself to be um, um, moon or space geek, that tried to find a way to make oxygen and space. I think I'm telling the story right, and that they end up creating a new way to extract steel from the steel, iron steel. from the land. Okay, so this is like a game changer in mining, and maybe not the best example for novel materials, but example to what is climate efficient materials.
A novel
And
process.
exactly, a novel process more than a novel material, and have an amazing process of how you can really use I don't know the word, maybe you know, ofra, like the land that you take the mining of. So like even if it was like already used, they're really able to use it again and make the process so much more efficient. So another amazing company working in Israel, which is a total game changer.
Is this a chemical innovation he figured out, or what?
I think it is a chemical innovation.
Okay.
Um, but did you see how I changed the screen? Did you see the
Yeah, yes. Now you're
biodegradable materials? Okay,
biodegradable
so this is like
materials.
more
Mhm.
another idea of like noble materials. A naked pack is a good example of, by the way, like a very young company. I think pre-seed or seed or so they use what is it? Maybe algae. I hope I'm not confusing it with a different company. So like all the knowledge is here, and don't take my word for this. I'm just here to try to open your mind.
Yeah,
And
yeah.
they pack food inside of it. So like the material is totally degradable and totally novel to begin with. The Cafterium are doing very similar things, only based on fungus, right?
Mhm.
Fungi,
Fungi, yeah.
fungi. There is actually a lot of fungi work in climate lately, so that usually has like dual use. It's an actual material. You can, I think, Toftium are going for construction. That's how strong what they're manufacturing, but also. This fungi is degrading a garbage, and what
Oh,
was like originally garbage, so it's like reusing it to create materials.
wow. Okay. This is very interesting.
I feel like I'm being examined to like 450 startups, and
Yeah.
usually
Do you
when
not
it
know?
happens, I need Yaroslav by me, but hopefully I'm doing a good service.
You're doing a great service. It's no, this is amazing. And I mean, this is the kind of I like this general knowledge, and it helps me when I talk to people. You know, um, your investors. Somebody asked about how much money they've been investing, or I don't know if you can share overall, or
It really depends, and usually they have it in their own portfolio. So what I would do is I would go to our platform to investors page, and then you can see all the investors, and usually they share it in their platforms. So this is super broadly speaking.
okay,
There can be one investor that invests has like checks of I don't know like 500,000 or 1 million for pre-seed and seed, and there are obviously rounds of like 100 million. So totally varies.
right, interesting. So a couple more questions have come in. There was an Israeli company that developed a house paint several years ago that allegedly cooled down a house by 5-10 degrees. Have you ever heard of that? I have not. I do know that Tambor, because for Shvil Yisrael, they went sustainable or they claimed sustainability, and they donated paint to us for painting the people that do the trail markings. And
Super cool. I didn't hear of that, but I know
yes.
Tambo has like really cool initiatives in this, like on the
Oh, you
field.
have heard that? I
Yes, yes,
never
yes,
know.
for sure.
That's
Yeah.
good to know. Good to know. Um, um, Okay. Is there a fund for small investors to invest that supports Israel PlanetTech companies? Good question. Like, do you have angel
Um, a
people that'll
fund
just,
for small investors. That is a good question. Yes, you know what? Like for sure there is. What I suggest is maybe if let me really put my mail in the chat,
yes,
and
do
I
that.
can connect you. What we do have in Israel is angel clubs that invest together. I can totally connect you to those. Let me just put my email. You could go on. I can listen, but not answer.
Okay. Um, 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 and this was referred to as a good question. Are there any companies working on real biodegradable disposable cups and plates that could be sold cheaply to the Israeli public? Because wow, that issue.
Why Israel Innovation? Hope there are no spelling mistakes in my email. Yes, there is
Yeah, there-
one.
Israel
I mean, there.
Innovation, right?
Yes, innovation. Yes. Oh no. Wait, let
Is
me
it
retype
innovation
it.
with one N?
No. Why? No, innovation is two ends.
It
No.
is? Oh, okay. I'm not a good speller. My spelling stopped like in sixth grade.
I use chat, but okay, here I ended N. Yes. There is one that I forget its name, but it is the coolest company. That is the one made out of LG.
Oh, really? Oh,
And
I mean,
yes,
because they've been doing that for so many years, banana leaves and I mean, and still, I always tell, I was at a wedding in the desert at some, place several months ago in Israel, and the bar, said that they had straws that were sustainable. Okay, whatever they made it, and they felt weird, like I don't know, bamboo or whatever. Anyway, so I took one. I never take a straw, but felt like a straw that night. And at the end of the night, we're sitting around a bonfire, and I tossed the straw in, and there was like this puff of smoke and smell of petroleum.
oh no,
I'm
no,
telling
not
you.
good.
Yeah. Yeah.
So yeah, the world hasn't solved that super weird. Obviously, I just want to be one second to return to my job at SPNI and say like, really, that is one place that humanity can just reduce.
Right.
But I'm so
Straws
sorry for
specifically. And
yeah, I
no,
mean, like, usually I hate saying that, and I always say, no, no, technology will solve everything. But like, this is like the one case that I really think humanity can reduce. But at the same time, there are companies, and what is also happening is like the degradation processes are becoming smarter and smarter. So like maybe the materials and the processes are now like getting to a match where I actually saw that in the US, not in Israel, but like super compost, like huge machines that can recycle things that may be faster, much faster than nature. To my knowledge, there is one company I won't remember its name now, but I can totally send later to whoever asks. You can send me an email and I'll hook you up with the
okay.
company.
Okay. Um, Somebody mentions here an important Israeli company, Blue Green Technologies, against
Yes, cleaning
bacteria.
gang.
Hmm.
Yeah.
And final question, and we really were at the top of the hour in a minute. Are all the companies you work with private equity or some on the stock exchange in Israel or America?
So like sometimes we need to acknowledge like when does the startup stop being started?
Right.
But we just love the climate companies. So usually we continue to work with them after they IPO'd. We don't have many companies in Israel, like some are IPO'd in Israel, less in the US, but there are some big energy companies in the US. So I mean it varies.
Awesome. Awesome. Well, Rotem, thank you very, very much.
Thank you.
Really, really appreciate it. Nama got working back office here in the webinars that she does from her home in the Sharon region. Thank you, Nama. Rotem
Thank you,
coming to us
Nama.
from Tel
And thank you
Aviv.
everyone for joining us. I hope this was important for you and that you end up deploying climate tech technologies
I hope we
down
will
the
be
line.
deploying, and everybody will be deploying nature-based solutions to climate change as well, and
True,
the technologies that enhance that. We didn't discuss that too much, but that is our angle on this whole thing. And
true. And
well,
and it's
but
and it's a huge part because nature just knows how to do things and like imitating nature and like nature-based solutions to solve nature problems, but also just to solve humanity problems is a huge, huge part of climate tech technologies and some
thank
really
you.
amazing.
Yes, yes. It's really it's like with energy efficiency or what you just said about plastics, use less. I mean, first of all, preserve the habitats we have, you know, and repair the ones we can. That's stores a lot of
תיקון
carbon.
עולם.
Rotem, איזה כיף, ממש, תודה רבה.
תודה לכם.
Really enjoyed having you, learned a lot. Thank you, everybody, for being here. Um, Hope you enjoyed it, and we'll be back in 2 weeks, I believe. And I don't remember what we have going on, but you'll be getting emails. It's always on our site. This webinar was recorded. Will probably be on our site tomorrow. And looking forward to seeing everybody next time.
I just want to say that I see all the questions. Please just email me whatever you need, and I am happy to help everyone with their own
Oh
question.
yeah, somebody
Okay?
just asked about a ticket to the conference in
Yeah.
December.
So the answer is yes, definitely. So just like if this is relevant, please just copy my email and email me. I'm happy to help.
Yeah, well, the conference in December, that's for investors, though, you said, right?
Exactly.
But then there's a mishlachet that'll have an event for startupistim v'kol zeh. That
Exactly.
and that's also in December.
That's the one. Yeah, that's in
Oh,
December,
oh,
and
that's
there is
part of
this
it. Oh, I got it.
exactly, exactly.
Toda.
So,
We'll be in
so that.
touch.
Bye.
Bye, Rotem. Litroot, toda.